Welcome everyone, is bringing you this W3L Network special edition of the toughest tournament in all of professional wrestling. It's 7 Deadly Sins 2018, and for the first time in history, the Worldwide Wrestling League is splitting the tournament across 2 days and 2 locations. So we're here on night 1 in Musselburgh, where we'll see the first 2 rounds of 4 in total, the toughest tournament all of pro wrestling. 4 different rounds, each with separate and unique stipulations. We'll be kicking off with the opening round of 7 Deadly Sins, which is a 7-man over the top rope battle royal. So this is the only chance that all 7 men will get to be in the ring at once. The winner of this match receives a bye into the semi-finals, so he will effectively get the rest of the night off. The other 6 participants must wrestle in the next round, and we'll be seeing that after this contest. So all 7 men about to be introduced and come into the ring. This is a very interesting lineup on 7 Deadly Sins. 4 of the participants have done this before. They've been in previous 7 Deadly Sins tournaments. The other 3, they're making their 7 Sins debut, and really I think it favours those that have been around and have competed in it before. But traditionally it's all held on one night, so 4 rounds, 4 different sets of stipulations all in one night. It's a massive gut check. It is the hardest tournament to get through, simply because you're competing potentially 4 times in one night against different stipulations and the like. It's really difficult. You don't win 7 Sins, you invariably survive it. This year, of course, being split across 2 locations on 2 days, you do get a break in between rounds 2 and then 3 and 4, of course. So it's going to be interesting to see how this affects people's strategies. Because again, they're going to get 24 hours to rest, recover, recuperate. But of course, if they get injured, they're going to have 24 hours of injury to try and heal from. But it's not possibly long enough for it to be able to do that. So it's going to be a real interesting test over the 2 days to see how people cope with this tournament. And we've got a mixture of participants, people old and new faces that I'm sure you're familiar with in W3L, maybe some that you're not quite as familiar with. We'll already see Tenacious Johnny Lyons in the ring. Interestingly, for all who's been around W3L for a while, this is the very first time he's ever competed in 7 Deadly Sins. Whereas somebody like the very good Mr. Euan Mackie, who we see has reverted to his more traditional form, life form of his. This is his 4th 7 Deadly Sins tournament. So here's a man who knows what he's doing, looking sharp as well. Earlier on, he's making his 7 Deadly Sins debut as well. This is a good test for this contest, because you've got 7 participants. All of your opponents are here, and you can potentially feel them out somewhat. You can maybe get an idea of what they're going to bring to the table. Once the match is over, management will be doing a blind bracketing draw backstage to determine who gets paired off with who, and then the first 2 men will have to then come pretty much straight back out to compete in the first of our 2nd round matches. We will see Craig Stevens returning to W3L for the first time in quite a while. This is only going to be his 2nd 7 Deadly Sins tournament. You see he's been spending his time working on his physical fitness, sculpting his physique. But just what will that do for him in this tournament? He's up against some very experienced men,
Dickie Divers,
including this man. Continues to have a member, Dickie Divers. I'm sure if you watch wrestling shows on the W3L Network, you'll be familiar with all the stuff that's involved him, and with Taylor Bryden, who's also involved in 7 Deadly Sins this year. Will we encounter each other in the tournament? Only time will tell, but Divers, he's got a difficult night ahead of him. He petitioned to get into the tournament because, of course, at stake is that main event championship match, Wrestlution XII later in the year. But he's going to be challenging for the Wrestling Showdown Championship as well very, very shortly, from the first ever Wrestling Showdown Championship. It'll be either him or Mike Musso. There's going to be a difficult night ahead of him if he's going to have to compete in 7 Deadly Sins tomorrow in Dunfermline, as well as challenge for the Showdown Championship. I don't know if he's quite got the stamina to get through the tournament and that championship match, but that is mere speculation. This is a Divers' 4th tournament, and got to the finals last year against, of all people, Blondie
former
Barrett.
WWE star, the legend that is Joe E. Legend.
And here's a man that everybody knows, former W3L Heavyweight Champion. Now very popular with fans, though he's anything but originally. And this is his first ever 7 Deadly Sins tournament. He's been everywhere, he's done everything. He's wrestled in pretty much every kind of match you could name, but he's never competed in a tournament like 7 Deadly Sins. And it'll be interesting to see what Joey Legend can bring to the table. He has a vast experience and over literally everybody else in this tournament. He's extraordinarily versatile, can do a ton of things, but can he get through 4 rounds of action and get that match at Wrestlution? It's a tall order even for him. And when you look at the people he's up against, you can't say Divers, Stevens, Lyons, Mackie, or whoever Looking Sharp is about to, you can't say any of them short. They're all very worthy winners, or potentially worthy winners. We'll really see what happens as the tournament goes on. Again, this is our 8th 7 Deadly Sins tournament. And here comes the man who is tied with Mike Musso for the most appearances in 7 Sins. This is his 5th appearance. It's Taylor Bryden, former Contingency Plan member. And of course, I'm sure the Divers turned around. I'm still using the planned music. And he's got one thing in mind, it looks like, with his game face on. And he spotted Divers. He figured this might happen. Are they going to go for each other? Hang on, Bryden comes straight in. Oh, and there's the pellet, and both men are out. Bryden and Divers have tackled each other, and both have hit the floor, and Divers off like a scalded cat. And Ledge trying to get Stevens out. Johnny Lyons is going for the help, and here comes Sharp and Mackie. It's every man for himself, no friends, only foes. But you think you can form an alliance, at least in the early goings. It might be to your benefit, and Sharp and Mackie, have they formed some sort of team? You can see that Looking Sharp's got a broken nose and he's wearing that face guard. So I mean, he's certainly throwing caution to the wind because he needs to protect his face, but all these people running about this match could cause him further damage. But he and Mackie seem to be working over Johnny Lyons, trapped in the corner. There's the breakfast launcher from Mackie. Joey Legend has got Craig Stevens, he's winding up and pokes him right in the eye. Legend, you've got to think, is a favourite to win this Battle Royal, just due to his experience. I mean, there's probably been more Battle Royals than anybody else here. Ryan's been on the back foot since this match started. Hang on, ducks a couple of clotheslines and takes down his opponents with a couple of clotheslines of his own. He's got hold of Mackie, he's going to try and eliminate him. And out goes the very good Mr. Euan Mackie. Hang on. And out goes Lyons. Looking Sharp took advantage and Lyons is out. Well, neither of those two men, and Mackie runs off. They're not going to be advancing into semi-finals. Sharp, Stevens and Legend are left, and it looks like Stevens and Sharp are going to eliminate Joey Legend. But he's fighting off both men. In fact, I don't think that Sharp and Stevens' experience together comes close to the amount that Legend has. But it's still 2-on-1. He's about to ram the heads together, and they nail him with a couple of shots to the midsection. That would be good for Looking Sharp if Stevens just had his head rammed into Sharp's nose guard. Looks like a double suplex attempt here. And down goes Joey Legend, that solid W3L ring. And Stevens and Sharp celebrating. You really want to get Legend out quickly as you can. Sharp now just throttling Joey Legend, trying to cut the oxygen out of him. The crowd chanting for Joey Legend as Stevens drops an elbow right to the midsection. But it's 2-on-1 and he's kind of struggling. And it's interesting that an alliance has been formed. It does sometimes happen, but ultimately only one man can win. Imagine if Looking Sharp goes all the way to the semi-finals in his first ever 7 Deadly Sins tournament. Wait a minute, Legend not done yet. And he hits Craig Stevens with DDT. Stevens tried to stay on his feet. And Looking Sharp gets knocked right off his feet and hits the floor. Stevens still hit the canvas. I don't think he's as stunned as he might have been. but Legend's got this match going his way. It's 1-on-1 now. Stevens is reeling. I think Joe Legend is heading for the semi-finals. Stevens is just about out. Wait a minute, looking sharp. Attacks Joey Legend. He's finished. He's not part of this match anymore. But there's no DQs, and wait a minute, out goes Joey Legend. Craig Stevens has eliminated Joey Legend and wins the opening round battle royal. He now receives a bye into the semi-finals tomorrow night. He gets the rest of the night off. Let's go down to the God of the Ring announcers, John Short.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the winner, the man who... Your winner, Craig Stevens!
Well, there we have it. Craig Stevens wins the opening round battle royal. He will advance to the semi-finals. Everybody else, we're going to have to come back out in just a moment. W3L management pairing them off as we speak, and we're going to be seeing them competing in round 2, the quarter-finals of wrestling's toughest tournament, 7 Deadly Sins. But a big victory for Craig Stevens makes his job to win 7 Deadly Sins just that bit easier. And here we see the bracket leads in the next 3 matches, your quarter-final contests. 3 of these men will advance to join Craig Stevens in the semi-finals tomorrow night in Dunfermline. So this is the first quarter-final matches. No rest for Looking Sharp. I mean, he pretty much went backstage after the Battle Royal and was told that he was out next. And I said before, management do a blind draw when it comes to pairing off everybody in the second round, and it's luck of the draw whether you get later or you're forced Looking Sharp to come straight back out again. But, you know, he's arguably still fresh, so I'm still buzzing from helping Craig Stevens win the Battle Royal and eliminate Joey Legend. And if anybody can overcome the fact that there's virtually no rest routine, the last match in this is going to be Looking Sharp. I mean, here's a guy with potential galore. He recently appeared on national television, I'm sure you all saw that. We'll be hoping to put in a 5-star performance here at 7 Deadly Sins. And it's the first time he's ever competed in this tournament, so there's a good chance he's not entirely sure what this is going to mean for him. Particularly in light of having to wrestle 2 matches virtually back to back.
This, once again then, is return to the ring for Luke. Ladies and gentlemen, live in front of your very eyes is I, the sexiest man in professional wrestling. His mother's favorite wrestler. Sexiest man in professional wrestling. Elegance, intelligence, relevance and beauty. Ladies and gentlemen, weighing in tonight. And a ripped, cut and jacked 8.5 stone. Standing at a colossal 5'4". Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lou King. Dramatic pause. Sharp. What can I say after that? Other than let's have the music for his opponent. Arosta!
Well, Looking Sharp introducing himself. Perhaps not as well as the legendary John Short would do it, but you take what you get, I suppose. And Sharp, this is before it's his first time in 7 Deadly Sins. He's taking on a man making his 5th 7 Deadly Sins appearance. Only he and Mike Musso are tied for the most amount of appearances. And here's Taylor Bryden, who's still finding it a bit weird that the crowd are on his side again. Of course, I'm sure you're familiar with all his shenanigans, stuff that he was doing as part of the contingency plan, a group that was formed at 7 Deadly Sins back in 2015. And Bryden, in the most decorated tag team wrestling all of W3L, he has done so much in the way of rule breaking, of cheating, and being such a despicable person in many respects. But in light of what happened back in April on Wrestling Showdown, when he and Dickie Divers lost that tag team match to Mike Newson Vortex, and then Divers attacked Bryden after the match and effectively kicked him out of the contingency plan, the crowd have taken to Taylor Bryden, and it's still a little strange for him. But if you're not a long-time fan of W3L, you probably don't know that Bryden used to be cheered by the fans. He was one of the most popular tag team wrestlers this company's ever had. He was in a team called the Disco Biscuits, and they were stupidly popular. Everybody loved them, and Bryden was such a popular guy. But of course, time went on, his focus changed, and now it seems to have swung round again. And so he should have the advantage in this contest. He had a much shorter opening round battle royal, as you saw. Went straight for his nemesis Divers, and the two of them eliminate each other instantaneously. So he did a bit of a moment to rest. Also, he is familiar with the way the tournament is laid out. Again, this is his 5th appearance, so he should have the advantage over Liu King Sharp. Bryden's only ever reached the semi-finals of 7 Deadly Sins in both 2013 and 17. He's never got any further than that, and he's going to go all the way this year, because how better to stick it to Dickie Divers, who also in the tournament will be seeing him in a bit, than to go all the way. And I'm sure if Bryden has his way, it'd be he versus Divers in the finals in that last man standing match. No rules, anything goes. Imagine what Bryden can do to Divers then. And Liu King Sharp is just making Bryden wait, taking his time. He's in no rush. As I mentioned before, he's wearing that nose guard. It's a nose broken in Denmark, and it caused him some great discomfort. But management have allowed him to wear this nose guard.
Excuse me, referee. You can please take our ginger-haired friend here into his corner. Aye, I'm very familiar with the scumbags, tramps, junkies, and layabouts of the people of Musselburgh. Weapons and or foreign objects, please. Thank you.
Well, Sharp wanting Taylor Bryden checked for foreign objects. In the past, I'd half expected to be covered in the things, because that's just the way the contingency plan roll. Always able to find a way to break the rules and cheat wherever necessary. But he's somewhat changed his ways as Taylor Bryden. Again, he's still not entirely accepted by the fans, but I mean, in a toss-up between he and Divers, and certainly he and Liu King Sharp, it's a no-brainer as Sharp, like he was wearing that nose guard, fell over the ropes and landed flat on his face. That won't put him in a good mood. And Sharp, in very many ways reminiscent of Blondie Barrett, because he's just stalling, taking his time, making his opponent wait for him. There's no rush. It's sometimes your opponent wants to steam in and get the match over quickly. But Taylor Bryden's too wise for this. He's been around a long, long time. Look at he debuted in the end of 2005. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. Again, he's competed in 7 Deadly Sins countless times. And there is the bell. So the match is now officially underway. One of these men will advance into the semi-finals. Of course, Craig Stevens is already there. At the end of their set of matches, then the quarterfinals, management will then take the 4 men who have advanced and pair them off for tomorrow night's semi-final submission matches. Again, every round of 7 Deadly Sins has different rules, as Bryden using his power and weight advantages to back Sharp in the corner. I mentioned that nose guard earlier. Obviously management have had a physician check it out just to make sure that it's entirely legitimate, and of course it is. There is a medical device. I'm sure Sharp would use it as a weapon if he was able to, but of course by taking it off he does expose his still somewhat damaged face, so he's going to try and avoid being hit in the face and try and avoid getting that nose guard taken off him. Looking Sharp, not a man who appears in W3L a huge lot. He's been here a few times. I think last time was possibly last year. We saw in Showdown. And did you see that? Looking Sharp clapped his own hands and was trying to make it look as if Taylor Bryden hit him, because the referee wasn't watching at the time, he was looking elsewhere. And that's how smart Sharp is. And it's one of the things you watch Looking Sharp since really is. Let's go for the microphone again.
This is a professional wrestling match, not a street fight. As I'm a gentleman, I'm going to give him one more chance. No chance.
Well, Sharp saying he's going to give Bryden one more chance, and it's not a street fight. I mean, it's not like neither man knows this. Hang on, let's go for it again. Well, that somewhat backfired them. The referee saw every single second of that. So Sharp has been exposed there. His shenanigans have backfired. You see Bryden just casually waiting for him. He'll wait all night if he has to. Sharp remonstrating. So the things about Looking Sharp is that, again, if you watch him since he debuted, he's not the biggest and heaviest man in a match. So he's had to be very cunning, very sly, and he completely is. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a tremendous wrestler, has an amazing amount of ability. But he's so cunning, he's like a fox. He can find a loophole, he'll find a way to sneak in a cheeky shot somewhere. He can bend rules like nobody's business. And again, when you're up against Taylor Bryden, who's more experienced and indeed has more history in 7 Deadly Sins, you want to use that advantage as Sharp moves at the grabs ropes. Good ring positioning and awareness there. So you want to get that advantage to try and overcome the deficit that you have. I mean, this in theory should be a walk in the park for Bryden, but I do wonder if his mind is somewhat on Divers. He went straight for him when he hit the Battle Royal, and I think that's part of the impetus. I'm not sure if Divers was entered into the Seven Sins tournament first. I believe he was, and then once Bryden heard about it, he petitioned management to put him in. So he obviously wanted to get his hands on Divers after what happened between them. But if he's focusing on his former tag partner and not on Looking Sharp, he's going to be in all sorts of trouble. And Bryden just out-muscling Sharp yet again. He wants the referee to get his hands and knees. And oh, okay. Bryden seems cool with this. What's Sharp going to do now? Oh, I see. Sharp's going to try and stand on the rev's back if he can get up there, and use that height advantage to try and get the better of Taylor Bryden. And generally the taller man has the advantage in this kind of thing. Oh, right in the face! And Looking Sharp takes a massive tumble off the referee's back, leaving the footprints in that nice white shirt of his. And Bryden, maybe he's tired of playing around now, maybe he wants to make sure he advances into the semi-finals and deposits Looking Sharp with that huge body slam. Bryden's going to climb the top turnbuckle. Perhaps wants to put this one away as early as he can. Traditionally in Seven Sins, because it's over one night, you need to conserve as much energy as possible. At least now the guys are going to get a rest. And Sharp just threw himself out the ropes. Bryden slipped and landed badly. Took a bit too long on that turnbuckle, and now Sharp, like a shark in the waters, with a foot right in the throat of Taylor Bryden, throws him on the floor. I don't know if that's maybe just to give him a bit of a break from potential assault from Bryden, so Looking Sharp can recatch his breath. because of course it'll take Bryden a couple of moments to climb back in the ring. Maybe that's Sharp's plan, but it also means that he's got the high ground and he can stomp all over Bryden as he gets in the ring, just as we're seeing. And Sharp, not popular with this crowd at all. He just does not care. He revels in it. Look at this throttling, and now sitting on his throat as well. There's some unique offense for you. But Bryden's up, and catapults him back in the ring, as we've seen in the past. Bryden, hell of an athlete, very calculating, but he's got a temper, so don't rile him, because you will come off first, believe me. And Sharp throttling him in the corner again. Just because Bryden's somewhat playing by the rules these days, he's somewhat on the fan side, or they're on his, maybe I should say. Don't think he's forgotten how to cheat. I'm sure Bryden would happily use some of those old contingency plan tactics against Looking Sharp if he needed to. But Sharp has that arm firmly clamped around Bryden's throat, trying to get around the carotid artery to slow the flow of blood to the brain and potentially cause Bryden to pass out. Referee's right in position, checking it's not a choke. Listening for a verbal submission from Taylor Bryden, watching to see if he taps the mat 3 times to signal him giving up. His arm's fallen there, referee will be about to check it, and he is. There's once. There's twice, it falls again, this match will be over. And oh, just about. That was millimetres off the canvas. Taylor Bryden still a fight left in him. Slowly getting back up to his feet, manoeuvring himself round. He's now facing Looking Sharp, pressures off the throat, and a couple of big punches, rapid fire jabs, ducks the clothesline, and they run right into each other, and Looking Sharp gets the better of that one. Just knocks down Bryden, who can't be 100% considering all he's been through, when he was nearly choked unconscious moments ago. Sharp arguing with the referee, telling him it should be a 3 count. He doesn't want to give Taylor Bryden a window of opportunity. There is Sharp going, he's prancing up and down the apron, taking his sweet time here. This backfired on Bryden earlier. We saw he was a bit slow in climbing the turnbuckles, a bit hesitant, and then Looking Sharp shook the ropes. And Sharp's playing the crowd. Bryden is stirring. Can Sharp hit what he's going for? Nope, Bryden moves. Sharp rolls over though. And a spinning leg lariat right in the injured face of Looking Sharp. And that's going to cause his eyes to water. He'll be sending sharp pain racing through his head. Obviously the guard in his face protects him from damage, but he can still feel the pain of that guard getting smacked into his face. And talking about feeling pain, look who's at ringside is Dickie Divers, the man who attacked Taylor Bryden after their match. He's not scheduled for a contest. What's he doing here? Surely he's not come out to give Looking Sharp some moral support, is he? Both men trading punches. Who's going to get the better of this? It looks like it's Bryden, but not Sharp now. And both men with forearms, and they both hit each other right in the face and both go down. Divers slated to get in the ring. Oh, it's going to be a 2-on-1. Bryden's going to get beaten up 2-on-1. Divers going to nail him, and he hits Sharp. Dickie Divers just hits Looking Sharp. What was that about? I don't get it. Oh, wait, the referee's called for the bell. I think he's disqualified Taylor Bryden. Let's go down to John Short. Let's see if he can get the official word.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee's decision. Taylor Bryden, your winner by disqualification.
That's the worst one in the world, Bob.
So that's what happened. Dickie Divers came in and attacked Looking Sharp, knowing that Bryden would get disqualified, therefore not advancing in the tournament. And you saw Bryden chase Divers backstage. Divers got a match to prepare for later on. So Looking Sharp, in his first ever 7 Deadly Sins tournament, advances into the semi-finals. He joins Craig Stevens in the submission matches that make up round 3 of 7 Deadly Sins. And we'll be seeing Looking Sharp back tomorrow in Dunfermline for the second half of wrestling's toughest tournament, 7 Deadly Sins. So with Sharp and Stevens advanced, let's move on to our second of 3 quarter-final matches. Venetian Carnival mask ominously appears on the screen to signal the arrival of the very good Mr. Euan G. Mackie. If you know W3L, you know Scottish wrestling, you know who this man is. See that light orb bring him to the ring. And of course, in recent weeks, months here in the Worldwide Wrestling League, if you watch wrestling show that every Sunday on the W3L Network, you will have seen that instead of the traditional black and green that you normally are, seen black and red, masquerading as Sasshole the Clown. But he has had a change of form yet again back to his previous form. There we see classic Mackie. He's black and green once more. He's got his life form, he's got that shovel, and he's as dangerous, as crazy and as cerebral as ever. And he's going to have a big match ahead of him, taking on Joey Legend. You've got Mackie in his 4th 7 Deadly Sins tournament, taking on Legend in his 1st ever. But with that life orb charge, Mackie has enough power to be able to get past Legend. And there's a big experience deficit on Mackie's part, because Legend debuted back in 1992, Mackie was 2007. And of course there's a size difference as well, but if anyone can get past Joey Legend, it's going to be the very good Mr. Euan G. Mackie. He's never got further than the quarterfinals in any 7 Deadly Sins appearances ever made, so he's hoping to change his streak of being knocked out in the 2nd round tonight by defeating Joey Legend. Imagine if he did that. Surely the matchmakers here at W3L would immediately be aiming for the Heavyweight Championship. And certainly the Wrestling Showdown Championship, which are about to crown the first ever champion. Let's go to the ring and John Short.
He's back. It's the character known as Euan G. Mackie. Now let's have the music for his opponent. To the ring, please.
The crowd obviously do not like the very good Mr. Euan G. Mackie, as you heard. Not really sure if they refer to him as a character, because that's just who he is. He's not playing a role. He is the very good Mr. Euan G. Mackie, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days off a year. If we want to talk about somebody 24/7, this man is a legend 24/7. Joey Legend. Man, very well known to W3L fans. He was a former heavyweight champion. A man who came into W3L and tried to do things his way. And not go through his history. You've seen how he assaulted the staff, assaulted other wrestlers. With a change of heart last year, the crowd took to him. And interestingly, at Wrestlution last year, Joey Legend tackled the very good Mr. Euan G. Mackie's sometime associate Tim Wiley. They were one-on-one with each other. It was a Wrestlution that was Mackie versus the merchandise Mike Nusso, who's not in this year's 7 Deadly Sins tournament. The Wrestlution was in this very building. Last time Mackie was seen, he was smashed through a wooden board by Mike Nusso. Thankfully that's not going to happen to him tonight. The last man standing match tomorrow in November, that's a possibility, anything could happen. So these two men have never wrestled before, as Mackie snatched up his foam hand.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, need I say more than Joey Legend.
Legend definitely the crowd favourite here, understandably. And Mackie's not really wanting to endear himself to the crowd, does things his way. This is going to be a really intriguing match. Mackie certainly lacks size and power, but makes up for it in speed and definitely in cunning as well. But Legend's no idiot, he's no slouch. He knows the rule book backwards, he knows how to break every rule, he knows every trick in the book because he's done them all at some point. It's his vast experience advantage, as he's wrestled all over the world, everywhere you can name, against everybody you can name. You can see the size difference right there. That's going to help him because I think if Mackie tries to pull a fast one, if he tries to cheat or do things sneaky, I'm sure Legend's probably done it before. So in theory that would make it easier for him to counter whatever Mackie's going to try. The crowd decided to eat Legend, but Mackie's not backing down. He's got that shovel in hand. Both men squaring off. Bell hasn't run. Mackie threatening to smack Dewey Legend with that shovel. Because if he does that before the bell rings, it's not really a DQ because the match hasn't officially started. The referee should theoretically get rid of the shovel. Mackie's doing a chant for himself going. It's not working. He's going to be hitting those turnbuckle pads, so that shovel may disintegrate further. Yep, the crowd firmly behind Dewey Legend. So much like the previous match, we've got one wrestler making his 7 Deadly Sins debut, taking on a man who's competed in it multiple times. Of course, we saw Looking Sharp advance in the last match thanks to Dickie Divers. Punching Sharp, I'm not even sure if Looking Sharp knew that was happening. I don't know if he'd conspired with Divers earlier. I imagine he probably hadn't. So he's probably as confused as anyone. But suffice to say, Taylor Bryden is out of the tournament. I believe W3L management and security backstage have managed to get between Divers and Bryden. Divers has been sent off to one room, Bryden another. He's been held there until at least Divers has had his match, which is coming up next. And Mackie's vanished from sight, going into the ring, only for our ringside attendance. In the form of John Short taking hold off the shovel, getting it out of the way. Hang on, Mackie sneaks to the other side. Legend doesn't realise where he is. And dogs him right in the face. What way to start the match? Rachel goes for a cover, he's going to win this one quick. And Mackie, there's those sneaky tactics, slides under the ring, drop kicks Legend from behind, immediately goes for the cover. Has got the advantage and Joey Legend on the back foot. And this was not how he wanted to start his first ever 7 Deadly Sins tournament. Again, Legend's been in every kind of match you could name, but never having competed in a tournament quite like this. This is the first time splitting it across 2 separate nights, so he's going to get the chance to rest. Legend has competed at 7 Deadly Sins before. Hang on, Mackie's grabbed the shovel again. And Legend moves and he smacks the ring post. There's more paint getting chipped off. And speaking of being chipped, that's been Mackie's teeth. And again, Legend with those solid right hands. And again, they're brawling at the crowd and the referee potentially could count them out. However, he is being lenient. There's fighting up the steps in this auditorium here in Musselburgh at the Brunton. This could be dangerous for the fans as well as the 2 wrestlers. He didn't get caught in the crossfire. And Legend locks on her cravat, just dragging Mackie back to the ring. This is a straightforward standard singles contest, pin, submission, DQ counter, all those kind of rules. There's another punch of Mackie. So if you're going to win, you need to win by pin or submission inside the ring. Whereas of course both men could get counted out, but the referee giving them some leniency. He knows what this tournament is like. Mackie rolls to his feet. And drop kicks Legend as he gets in. Do you see the recovery? Oh wait, Mackie for a cover again. This is how brilliantly Mackie recovered, because he got bounced around with those solid right hands. He fought into the crowd, fought back in the ring, yet Mackie was still able to fire back for that drop kick as Dewey Legend re-entered the ring. Just goes to show the stamina reserve Mackie has. You underrate him at your peril. A lot of people look at the bright colours, the beak mask, they look at, oh wait, give her another cover again, trying to end this one early. They look at Mackie and they see that maybe he's not as tall or as heavy as some other wrestlers and they dismiss him as he goes for a cover yet again. Mackie is determined to get this one over with quickly. He doesn't normally go for pins quite that fast, but he realises the size advantage, the experience advantage that Legend has, and he's trying to keep him off his feet and get as many pinfall attempts as he can. Big forearm in the corner. Mackie, like I say, he may not be the most muscular guy you'll ever see, but he is all sinew. He's live. There's not an ounce of fat on him. And he's as strong as an ox. He's launched in that corner. Just as Joe Legend, he takes some of those forearms. He's about to retaliate in kind. Winds up. But Mackie, fleet of foot, moves out the way and catches him right in the knee. Now here's something that I haven't mentioned as of yet. So Mackie looks going to be targeting his right leg. The second round of 7 Deadly Sins is straightforward, normal singles matches. The third round, the semi-final, are submission matches. So if you enter that match nursing an injury, that's a target for your opponent. That is an immediate bullseye on your body. And if Legend's knee gets worked on further by Mackie, assuming he's able to get past him, if he enters the semi-final submission matches, he's going to be doing it with an already existing injury. So it makes it even harder for you to get past because your opponent has something already weakened on your body that they can target. And that's why 7 Sins is so tough. Different stipulations, you need to work on your strategy, your stamina. So hard to win this tournament. And again, the winner gets a title shot in the main event of Wrestlution. And Legend drops down Mackie right in his skull, it looked like. And it took something out of both men. Referee now applying a count of 10. Legend crawls over, goes for the cover. It's his first one of the night. Mackie's not quite put away yet, but you see Legend firing back, gaining that second win. As Mackie drop kicks him right in the shoulder blades. He falls against those thick ropes in the W3L ring. Legend being hung out to dry. And Mackie kicks the rope back into Legend's throat. And Joe Legend's momentum being cut off. Mackie gets a bit ahead of steam. And a kick right to the side of Legend. In for a cover. Mackie's going to advance to the tournament. But Joe Legend has other ideas and pops the shoulder off the canvas. Mackie getting a bit frustrated, I think. Legend, I don't think he expected to be in this position, having to come back from what is frankly the brink of defeat here. I mean, he's struggling against the very good Mr. Euan Mackie, who has clamped on that steeple and applies the legs as a body scissors. And if you follow Mackie on social media, you know that he does a lot of pole fitness, and that involves you holding yourself up on a thin metal pole using just an arm and a leg. So he's got really strong leg muscles. It's like a barnacle in the bows of a ship. As Legend rams out the corner, Mackie releases the hold and reapplies it by jumping onto him. Legend trying to stay upright. He's going to sink to a knee shortly because Mackie's choking him out. Referee's checking to make sure that Legend's got some oxygen coming through. Trying to get the crowd back into, get them on his side. He runs to the corner again, but Mackie's holding him with those legs and just rakes the back, and again reapplies the sleeper hold. It's the experience Mackie has in being in the 7 Sins tournament, knows what it takes to get through this round. And alright, he's never progressed further than this. He's competed in this round before. He knows what it's like for somebody to have to go through and nurse an injury in the next round. So he's conserving his energy, yet make Legend expend his. And Legend's arm is flailing, much like we saw in the last match with Taylor Bryden. Referee going to check on the arm, he could be out. No, Legend blocked it with his own arm, starting to hit the canvas, and he's firing back, taking those moments to try and gain a couple of extra breaths, pulling himself up by the ropes with Mackie on his back. Reminiscent of Empire Strikes Back, like going into Dagobah with Yoda on his back. A boot right to the face. Joey Legend stumbling around. Mackie maybe trying monkey flip, but walks right in that back elbow. Hang on. Big clothesline from Joey Legend, turns Mackie inside out and upside down, just like the cramps. And both men flat out. Mackie got sent flying on that clothesline. Legend threw everything he had behind it. Then we get that count of 10. If neither man is up before the count of 10, the match will be over. It will be a draw, and somebody will get a bye in the next round. Management will determine who that will be. Legend stumbling back to his feet. I think he's on his third win now, because he knows what's at stake. Hang on, he blocked the shot. Now smacking Mackie in the head. Mackie's going to be seeing stars. His head will be spinning. This is his body. And a big palm strike to the head. He's setting up the elbow drop. Legend has a background in martial arts, but he goes for a cover. Leans on Mackie. He's got a background in martial arts, so I mean he uses palm strikes really effectively, almost better than a closed fist at times. Because with a palm strike, you don't run the risk of breaking your knuckles as well. Legend deliberate of pace, as we see, setting up a forearm. Mackie ducks but got slugged from behind. And there's the forearm. And Mackie crashes down in the corner. Legend in for another cover again. But Mackie getting a shoulder up. Legend just double checking that it wasn't a count of 3. If we saying it was only a 2. Backing up. There's Mackie set. And into the corner. What's Mackie going for here? Slingshots over the top. Sunset flips him. Legend trying to stay upright. And he's got hold of him. And he's pops Mackie back to his feet, whips him at the ropes, but Mackie holds on this time. And Mackie leaves the ring, deciding not to get smacked in the face, and goes under the ring again, it looks like. Again, we only have one camera angle in this W3L Network special edition of 7 Deadly Sins. Because our previous 7 Deadly Sins released on DVD, multiple cameras, all the whistles and bells you come to expect. We're giving this to you as a thank you for supporting us last year and this year in W3L. There's what looks like El Santo at ringside, trying to tell Dewey Legend where Mackie is. And this is shades at the start of the match. Mackie's got the shovel, however, and Legend one step ahead and nails him right in the midsection. He hooks up the very good Mr. Euan Mackie and drops him with a hospital job. Face first. Legend hooks the leg, rolls over and covers, and advances in 7 Deadly Sins.
Your winner in the semi-finals is Legend.
So in his first time of asking, Dewey Legend advances at the semi-finals of 7 Deadly Sins. And that's the same with the previous match. Looking Sharp, having never wrestled 7 Deadly Sins, has advanced. It seems like those with experience are dropping like flies. We are seeing a changing of the guard in 2018. Joey Legend overcoming the shenanigans, the tactics and let's be honest, the blatant cheating of the very good Mr. Euan Mackie. He tried to use his shovel. Legend was one step ahead. Another solid right hand to the midsection. Hits the hospital job and scores the pin. Joey Legend wins his first ever quarter-final match in 7 Deadly Sins. He will advance to the submission matches in the third round in the semi-finals to join the original Craig Stevens and to join Looking Sharp as well. One more man will advance in the tournament. We will find out who that will be in just a moment. But the very good Mr. Euan Mackie fails to get past the quarterfinals, but Joe E. Legend does. And this is going to stand him in good stead for a potential victory. Mackie arguing with every member of the crowd they can find, disappearing off into the darkness, shovel in hand. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Joe E. Legend wins the match. He advances into the semi-finals of 7 Deadly Sins 2018. Be sure to engage us on social media, visit our website, hit us up on Facebook and on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So here's a man who has made his presence felt already tonight here in 7 Deadly Sins. Eliminated almost instantaneously from the opening round battle royal by Taylor Bryden, the pair of them charging each other and crashing over the floor. And then he comes out in Bryden's match and smacks Bryden's own opponent, Looking Sharp. As a consequence, Taylor Bryden is disqualified for outside interference. Looking Sharp advances, and Dickie Divers costs his former tag partner, his former friend, the opportunity to reach the semi-finals of 7 Deadly Sins. This is the 4th 7 Sins tournament that Divers has competed in. The furthest ever got was last year when he and Blondie Barrett reached the finals. This was at the stage when Blondie Barrett was somewhat trying to pretend that he was a nice guy and be a favourite of the crowd, all part of his cunning master plan to get hold of that heavyweight title. So it was he versus Divers in the last man standing match. Barrett got the victory, but this time Divers is feeling confident it might just go all the way.
Well, we've got the first contestant in the ring. Once again, welcome, if you so wish, Dickie Divers. Now we'll change the music and let's see who his opponent is to be.
Well, there is only one man left, and that is Tenacious Johnny Lyons. He and Divers, two men have never actually wrestled each other, believe it or not. They have teamed up once before, July of last year at the Ice Arena in Kirkcaldy, for the Showdown Summer Spectacular. So this would be an interesting match for the pair of them. And you've got Divers, who nobody likes, let's be honest. He's one of the most despised men in all of W3L. Johnny Lyons, on the other hand, he and Taylor Bryden somewhat similar in that the crowd is still fairly new for him to be cheering these people. Lyons normally disliked as well, unpopular, but it was really after this match with Mike sort of Remedy back in February, the crowd kind of saw a new side of Lyons and they've taken to him, and Lyons has embraced it. He's become a popular man, and why not?
Our final contestant in this evening's first round contest, this is Johnny Lyons.
Don't wish to correct the Pinfall wrestling MCs, but this is technically the second round. A lot of folk forget the Battle Royal is actually round 1, but it is. This is the second round, the quarterfinals of 7 Deadly Sins, and the crowd firmly behind Lyons. And they didn't like what Divers did earlier on. They don't like all the things Divers has done in the past. Maybe here is definitely Johnny time, but having the crowd on your side isn't going to help you through. I mean, the crowd behind Taylor Bryden, he didn't advance. So one of these men will join Craig Stevens, will join Joey Legend, and will join Looking Sharp in the semi-finals tomorrow night in Dunfermline. Who will it be? This is Lyons' first 7 Deadly Sins. Can he go all the way through the tournament? I mean, so far, Sharp and Legend, two men who have never competed in this tournament before, have made it through. But considering the kind of role that Divers is on, remember he's in the finals of the Wrestling Showdown Championship tournament as well, so I think it's going to be Divers' night, I have to say, if I'm being critical about it. And Divers taking his time, much like we saw with Looking Sharp earlier on. Now the question as to hangover Johnny Lyons is, what state is he in physically? We saw back in February at Remedy, he injured his back further. If you watch Wrestling Showdown, as I assume you do, there was an episode at the end of January where he wrestled Mike Musso in the Wrestling Showdown Championship tournament and injured his back in that match. He seems to be perfectly fine just now, but it's always in the back of his mind, no pun intended. Interesting to see where we go from here. I think he's being cautious and just taking the time. This crowd totally getting behind Johnny Lyons. I mean, last time he was in this building was Wrestlution XI at the end of last year, and he was in the golden ticket ladder match, and the crowd could not have despised him further, because Lyons sometimes, his ego had the better of him. He was off cheating, breaking the rules, doing things his way, not necessarily the crowd wanted to see him do, so they did not like what he did. And arguably was successful, because he held the tag team championship twice, so you can't really argue with that. But since turning over a new leaf, as finally Divers charges at him, both men lock up, and it's Lyons who just muscles him back in the corner. If you're breaking down this match with statistics, I'd say Divers probably has the speed advantage, Lyons the strength. pulling the referee's hair to show him just how Lyons apparently pulled Divers' hair. Technical wise, it's hard to say. Both men fairly adept. Divers the better high flyer, of course. And a walk up. And now Divers with a handful of Lyons' hair pulls him back. Should it be the Lyons' mane? Well, regardless, he uses it to muscle him in the corner and just disrespectfully paintbrushes his face. That's like slap to say I got the better of you there. And Lyons taking down Divers with these arm drags. Side headlock takedown. Lyons throwing himself around here. This is not, I think, what Divers is expecting. So you know that Craig Stevens has been sat backstage here in Musselburgh watching the monitor, studying his opponents. He's going to have to face one of these men tomorrow night in Dunfermline. Lyons runs right through Divers, that shoulder block, and he goes right to the floor. The hold of Bryden shaking here, as told by the camera. Divers walking it off, just clearing his head. The good thing, of course, going to the floor is that Lyons cannot pin him. I remember it's a straightforward singles contest, pin, submission, DQ count out to decide the winner. And the referee is applying that count to Divers, needs to be back in by the count of 10. And he's calling him a chicken. Divers is being cautious and goes out because he's broken the count, so he gets another 10 count to get back in. And we'll see if he's doing it just to frustrate Lyons, wouldn't be at all surprised. And Divers has held the tag team championship 4 times. So I mean, he's no slouch, believe me. Whether it be singles, tags, you name it. So he certainly brings a lot of ability to the match. And a huge right hand right to the face of Johnny Lyons. And again, what's that thing about Dickie Divers is that often they can caper about and do stuff that you'll laugh at, and he may seem a bit of an idiot in many occasions, but when he gets serious and he gets annoyed, he's as vicious as anybody. Lyons leaps on the apron, blocks Divers and just forearms him and runs him at the turnbuckle. And here's, Lyons rolls over, and I think it's going to go for sunset flip like Mackie did in the previous match. And Lyons just throws himself through Divers with that clothesline, and you see immediately goes right for a cover. It's the first opportunity Lyons has ever had to be in 7 Deadly Sins. He doesn't want to let this pass. Divers has the pedigree, he's got the finals. And a big vertical suplex by Johnny Lyons. Beautiful move, right in for the cover, no wasted movement here. Doesn't waste a moment, doesn't play at the crowd, straight for the cover. And you see Divers kicks out, gets on the apron so he can't be pinned again, pulling himself up by the ropes and snaps Lyons' neck on that top rope. And there's very little tension in those ropes as Lyons with a big clothesline in for the cover. And just a 2 again. Those ropes barely move, they're really solid. Lyons trying to fight through it. I think the adrenaline surgery will be blocking out a lot of the pain. Raining some fists down upon the head of Divers, who rakes the eyes. No matter how strong you are, no matter how muscular you are, no matter how much you work out, you can't train your eyes. And Divers off the middle rope, drop kicks him with accuracy. This could do it. Divers might advance here. I think even Divers thought he might be advancing there. Lovely drop kick off the middle turnbuckle. Now throttling Lyons on that middle rope. In case you're unfamiliar with some of the stuff that Divers has done in the past, when he's wrestled pretty much every name, if such a thing exists in Scottish wrestling, you name it, he's faced him. But I mean, if you know anything about Japanese wrestling, you know who Kenny Omega is. The first time Omega came to Scotland, it was specifically to wrestle Dickie Divers, and yeah, he got the better of him, but I mean, it was by no means easy as Divers just caught Lyons. He may have nailed him in the eye, I mean that's why he's kneeled across him. I don't think he hit him with that strike as crisp as he would have perhaps liked, but I think he may have caught Lyons in the eye, and that's what caused him to fall down. Again, you can't train your eyes, you can't make your eyelids bulletproof or more muscular. And Divers, once he's got you down, Once he's got the advantage and has you in his sights in the position he wants, he's ruthless. See Lyons pulling himself into the corner just to rest his head and neck a bit, try and gain a couple of extra breaths of air before Divers stomps them back at his lungs. See Divers toying with him. Has the better of him here. He's cockily booting Lyons in the head, but Lyons fires back, absorbs those feet and hits some forearms. He's moving slightly gingerly. There's the forearm. He's not moving quick. I wonder, this might play. I wonder if Lyons' back is playing up again. If it is, this won't help him out. Time to the middle rope. And hits the flying lion. Drop kicks Divers in the back of it. Hang on, goes for a cover again, but just nets himself a two. He drop kicks Divers in the back. But of course, Lyons' back hits the mat as well, and I think he's injured himself again. That back hasn't fully healed since the beginning of the year. And Lyons wrestles quite regularly. Going for the line cutter, and Divers pushed him away. He knew what was coming. He studied him. And a running boot right to the face. If Lyons had had a beard, he'd be clean shaven now. Divers had booted it right off his chin. Lyons slowly got up. Divers going to go for a drop kick again, I assume. Line cutter. Johnny Lyons out in mid of the line cutter. He didn't hit as crisp as he would have liked. I think his back is meant he can't jump as high as he wants, but he still hit it, and this is going to wrap it up. And Divers gets a foot on the ropes. Johnny Lyons caught a line cutter out in mid-air on Divers. Great presence of mind, great counter wrestling there. Wasn't as crisp as Lyons would have liked, but I think his back has given him injury. I think it's playing up. I think he's still hurt. Go for the Tenacious gun. He's barely getting up, and he drops him down. And Lyons moving sluggishly. We saw this at Remedy. He's exacerbated the pain in his back as he goes to the cover, and once again Divers kicks out. And the problem with a back injury is, unless you take a lot of time off just to rest and not do anything, you're never going to fully heal it. Lyons continues to rest, continues to train a lot, and I think it's healed as much as he would have said. I mean, he's claimed he's fine, but I don't know if he entirely is. As Divers drops him down, rams a knee into him, tries to blow his lungs out. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, so close. Johnny Lyons just getting out. Divers complained that was a 3. Lyons, bad back or not, he's going to keep going. We saw that, like I say, at Remedy with Mike Musso. Lyons could have given up that match at any point, but was determined to go through to the end. But eventually the injury proved too much, and he fell to Mike Musso, and Divers has grabbed himself a chair. This is a straightforward singles match, like I've already said. If he uses this, he will be disqualified and Lyons will advance. I don't think Divers wants that. He's not going to knock Taylor Bryden out of the tournament simply for him not to get put through. Hang on, can you hear that? That's the contingency plan theme. What's going on? Divers is looking at the entranceway, and it's Taylor Bryden. Bryden's come back out to get some revenge on Divers. Divers swings at him. Lyons with a roll up. Lyons with a roll up. He rolls with Dickie Divers and gets the pin. Johnny Lyons pins Dickie Divers. So Tenacious Johnny Lyons takes advantage of the distraction and rolls up Divers. He pins him and he advances into the semi-final submission matches. And he and Bryden moves. Oh, he takes a shot. Divers was going to swing for Lyons, and instead Bryden pushed him out the way and he took the chair. Lyons, hang on, he's got the chair now, and Divers heading out of the ring at high speed, and understandably so.
Once again, let's be clear, the winner through to semi-finals, it's Johnny Lyons.
So Johnny Lyons advances. Divers going to hit him with a chair. Taylor Bryden came out, distracted Divers. Lyons took advantage and rolled him up for the pin. And then Bryden saw that Divers was going to hit Lyons and sacrificed himself, took the bullet as it were. He and Lyons, this is going to be the start for an alliance, but simply got a common enemy in the form of Dickie Divers.
Let's have a hand for
both the contestants, the winner of the contest, however, and through to the 7 Deadly Sins semi-finals, it's Johnny Lyons.
Thank you, John. And these people all know who I am. Tenacious Johnny Lyons. It's because of you people that made us through that match. Thank you.
Johnny Lyons, ladies and gentlemen, and he will be in the semi-finals next time when we bring you the second half of 7 Deadly Sins. Stay tuned to this channel and don't miss out.